Welcome to This Explainer. If you're tuning in today, it probably means you're gearing up for something absolutely incredible. You're a future pilgrim. You're getting ready to embark on a massive spiritual and historical journey to the secret lands of Kurukshetra. And whether you're traveling from a few towns over or flying in from across the globe, stepping onto this ancient soil for the very first time can honestly feel a little overwhelming. But don't worry, because today we are going to walk through everything you need to know about the absolute crown jewel of Kurukshetra, the breathtaking Brahma Sarovar.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because the very first thing you've got to grasp is the sheer majestic scale of what you're about to see. This isn't just some small village pond. We are talking about one of the largest man-made bathing tanks in all of Asia. In fact, it is so staggeringly vast that when Abu Fazal, the famous court historian for the Mughal Emperor Akbar, first laid eyes on it, he was completely blown away. He literally called it a miniature sea. Just imagine traveling centuries ago, trekking through these dusty plains, and suddenly stumbling upon what looks like an ocean right in the middle of land. That's the exact same awe you're going to feel when you arrive.
Here is a quick look at our agenda for today's explainer. We'll start with a welcome to the miniature sea, look at the dawn of creation, trace through history, empires and taxes, do some exploring of the sacred grounds, and finally wrap up with your ultimate pilgrimage guide.
All right, Section 1, welcome to the miniature sea, arriving at the tank.
So let's talk practical travel logistics for a second. Brahma Sarovar is situated right in the beating heart of Kurukshetra city. It's super convenient, located right near Kurukshetra University. And if you're taking the train in for your pilgrimage, it is incredibly easy to get to, just about 3 kilometers from the railway station. The local authorities have made sure it's surrounded by well-paved roads, which means you can easily drive right up to the banks. Or, if you'd prefer to start your spiritual journey on foot, it's a really manageable walk. Honestly, it is the absolute perfect starting point for your wider tour of the whole region.
Moving on to Section 2, the dawn of creation, where it all began.
When you're standing right there on the banks in the daylight, looking out over that pristine water, you aren't just taking in a beautiful view. According to local beliefs in the ancient texts of the Vaman Purana, you are standing at the literal cradle of existence. The texts actually say this is the exact spot where Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, performed his very first sacrifice on the banks of the sacred Sarasvati River. Just take a second to process that. You are stepping onto the land where creation itself is believed to have begun.
And those ancient roots? They go even deeper. Local traditions state that the tank was first renovated by King Kuru. Yes, the legendary ancestor of the Kauravas and Pandavas, and the very king after whom the entire land of Kurukshetra is actually named. Religious texts and the Mahabharata frequently highlight its incredible sanctity. There's even a belief that the famous ancient conversation between the mortal king Pururava and the celestial nymph Urvashi took place right here on the banks of this very Sarovar.
Now, there's also a fascinating hidden history sitting right out in the middle of the water. The tank is actually divided into 2 halves, and right in between them lies an island. According to legend, after the catastrophic and epic Mahabharata war finally ended, it was on this exact island that Yudhishthira erected a Vijayastamba, a towering monument of victory. So as you gaze out across the water, you're looking at the ultimate monument of the Pandavas' triumph.
Let's jump to Section 3, history, empires, and taxes, a turbulent past.
We really need to walk through this timeline because it's a bit of a historical roller coaster. During medieval times, Muslim rulers of Delhi actually built soldier barracks right on that island we just talked about, and they collected a pilgrim tax known as jizya from devotees. But look at how this tax bounced back and forth. In 1567, Emperor Akbar stepped in and abolished it. Then, when Aurangzeb came to power in the 17th century, he slammed the tax right back on the pilgrims. By the mid-18th century, the Marathas took control and abolished it all over again. Eventually moving into modern times, a district magistrate named Mr. Larkin started early excavations in 1850. But the massive, beautifully structured tank you're going to walk around today? That is largely thanks to a huge renovation and development push in 1968, spearheaded by the late Gulzari Lal Nanda and the Kurukshetra Development Board.
Which brings us to Section 4, Exploring the Sacred Grounds. What you will see. To help you plan your daily itinerary, you really need to wrap your head around these gigantic dimensions. Remember that miniature sea quote? Well, here is the math behind it. The eastern part of the tank measures 1,800 by 1,500 feet, and the western part is 1,500 by 1,500 feet. The whole body of water is maintained at a depth of 15 feet. But the most important number for you, the pilgrim on the ground, is that last one, the parikrama path.
Surrounding this entire tank is a massive platform made of red stone featuring a parikrama, or circumambulation path, that is a full 40 feet wide. You are going to be doing a lot of walking, so definitely wear comfortable footwear and pace yourself as you take in the sights along this massive walkway.
As you're walking along that massive 40-foot path, you'll look toward the center of the tank and see this absolutely stunning structure. This is the Sarveshwar Mahadev Temple. What makes this temple so incredibly special is the strong local belief that Lord Brahma himself established the Shiva Linga right here. To let pilgrims actually reach it, they've constructed a dedicated bridge right over the water. It's a gorgeous piece of architecture, topped with 4 shikaras, or spires, built in the Naga style at its corners. It makes for a truly unforgettable sight against the backdrop of all that vast water.
Aside from the main temple, there are a few other absolute must-sees you'll want to pin on your map. First up, located right between the two halves of the tank, is the ancient Chandrakoop well. Next, over on the northern side, you'll find the ruins of an old ghat known as Sharanwala Ghat. This was built back in 1855 during the East India Company's rule, and exactly like the name suggests, it features 2 stone lions facing each other on a platform right above its arch. Finally, just a short distance from the Sarovar, archaeologists actually uncovered a 7th century Buddhist stupa. This is a massive historical touchpoint, especially since it was famously documented by the ancient Chinese traveler Huan Sang in his writings.
And finally, Section 5, your ultimate pilgrimage guide, merit and experience.
At the end of the day, the true reason for your journey is the immense spiritual reward awaiting you in these waters. According to the texts, taking a bath in this holy tank during a solar eclipse carries the exact same merit as performing thousands of Ashwamedha yajnas, or horse sacrifices. It is a moment of profound spiritual cleansing. In fact, the Vaman Purana explicitly states that bathing and fasting here frees an individual from the eternal cycle of birth and death, granting ultimate liberation. Even the famous Persian scholar al-Biruni made a point to note the profound sanctity of this exact spot in his historical book, Kitab al-Hind. During a solar eclipse, you're going to be joined by lakhs of devotees from across India and the whole world, all gathering to share in this tremendous spiritual energy.
Now, as a first-time pilgrim, you also want to plan for the sensory experience of the site because it changes drastically from day to night. During the day, it's bustling and sunlit. You've got the vivid red stone, the bright blue skies, the clear water. It's incredibly vibrant and full of life. But I highly, highly advise you to also return in the evening. At night, the entire place transforms. The beautifully illuminated Indian flag stands tall, and the vast, pure waters reflect the surrounding lights in a way that just fills you with this unparalleled peace and tranquility.
Just look at how beautifully the temples glow against the dark sky, the reflections shimmering perfectly on the surface of the miniature sea. After a long day of walking that 40-foot parikrama path, just sitting quietly on the ghats at night, taking in this serene illumination, it offers such a deeply personal moment for a modern traveler to just pause and reflect on the thousands of years of history and faith that surround them. Well, we have covered the dawn of creation, the turbulent centuries of empires and taxes, the exact dimensions of the paths you'll walk, and the ultimate spiritual merits of these sacred waters. You are officially prepared for your journey. So, I'll leave you with this. Now that you know the ancient secrets beneath the water, how will you experience your very first step into the miniature sea? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Safe travels to Kurukshetra, and I wish you a truly profound pilgrimage.